and welcome to this immediate post-lunch session on research meets reality. So, because the lunch is in full swing, I know we'll take some time for the hall to, filter in, people to filter in and gather momentum, the course to gather momentum. I'm hoping that we'll have more people over. So, in the meanwhile, this course is not only for people who desire or aspire to publish, it is as much for aspiring authors as it is for clinicians who want to gear up their practice and to update to the latest norms and what is happening in that current field, in their field of expertise. So this focuses on both these groups. So without much ado, we will go into the course proper. Before that, we are really honored to have with us Dr. Ajit. He is our keynote speaker. He is also my colleague at Amala, but that's not the reason he is here. Dr. Ajit is actually our lab director of the Amala Integrated Medical Research Department, which is a department dedicated to the facilitation of research. So if Amala makes him the lab director of that, naturally you know how qualified he is for this particular role that we have assigned for him today. So I'm really thankful that he's joining us, and he will be telling you some sure shot success mantras to publish and flourish. And one more thing is, he is not only a not only this, he doesn't have this is not his only credential. He is also a professor of biochemistry, and he has almost 136 research publications, 2,900 citations, 12 book chapters, and an H index of 32 in Scopus. And he has authored a textbook on concise medical biochemistry. So his name has been featured in the single year from 2019 and the career-long list from 2022 of top 2% most influential scientists in the world by the Stanford University, US. So he's currently also serving as the deputy editor of the Journal of Advanced Health Research and Clinical Medicine published by Wolters Kluwer. So these are his, this is the sort of person we have here. So I'm sure that his talk will be of great benefit to all of us. So we are starting with the second talk of this session. This is for every author who wants to stay clear of trouble while being, in their enthusiasm to publish. They may make many medico-legal mistakes and ethical wrongs. So this talk is dedicated to, keeping it in a safe zone, keeping authorship in a safe zone. And we have none other than our own president, who will be speaking on this topic of note the point, legal or ethical aspects that every author should know. So I'm inviting Dr. Mahesh over.
Thank you, Ladika, for inviting me. I was the editor some 50, but I am little out of editor work. So this is little very tough. I can talk on retina cases anytime, but I have to read for some time what is happening. First thing, let me tell you what is the difference between legal and ethical. Legal, there is a law, a statute which is passed by the parliament. If you violate it, you will have a civil case or criminal case or something, some case will be there. Ethical is not, it is quasi-judicial sort of thing, like a medical council or some body will be there. So if you violate ethics, they are not going to put you in jail, but they can penalize you professionally or something like that. So that is the difference between legal and ethical. In publication, it is mainly ethical. So this I noted, this last week was the Publication Integrity Week by COPE. That regarding ethics, there was a Publication Integrity Week which was observed last week. We all tell that every publication we write, this is as per the guidelines of Declaration of Helsinki. What is Declaration of Helsinki? I think everyone will quote World Declaration of Helsinki. This is a little complicated area. It was last revised in October 2013, and medical research is subject to ethical standards that promote and ensure respects for all human subjects and protect their health and right. In India, as per the Article 21, a person can decide what has to be done with his or her body, and nobody has any right in that. So if you violate that, you will be in trouble. So ethics means it respects the human subject and protects their rights. So that is what is mentioned in Declaration of Helsinki. Okay, so physician must consider the ethical aspects and regulatory norms and standard for involving human research. So what Declaration of Helsinki means is there should be an ethics committee which we should present our study, and they will monitor the study throughout the finish until the final report is given. And there are some aspects in that, like the most important thing when you attend a ethics committee meeting is the informed consent. It is called informed consent form, informed consent document, which includes information sheet and informed consent form. Both together is the informed consent document. Whatever you are going to do should be divulged to the patient, and then it has to be registered in clinical trials registry in India, which is linked to WHO registry. So ethics committee in every hospital will have a standard one chairperson and members who are preferably from outside the hospital. They should have a basic medical scientist, clinician, legal expert, social scientist, layperson, like that. Head of the institution should not be part of the ethics committee, but will be the appellate authority to appoint the committee or dispute. So every hospital, most of the hospitals have ethics committee. There are some hospitals where they do not have a ethics committee, where they can use the service of other hospitals nearby. They can present their. So this is very important. Ethics committee can give sanction or grant waiver. Waiver is given in many of our retrospective studies because we are using only data where we are not, patients are de-identified. So most of our studies in India are retrospective studies. So we don't usually have a ethics committee clearance in many of these cases. And some cases where there is anonymized blood biological samples or humanitarian emergencies, ethics committee can waive the sanction. So they don't have. The consents are of different types: blanket, tired, specific, delayed, dynamic. So consent can change over time when your intervention varies. So blanket consent is not very advisable. Pediatric consent is one thing. Less than 8 years you cannot give consent as per the Indian law. You can enter into a contract only after 18, and between 12 and 18 there is a difference between assent and consent. Okay, there is you have to take consent from the child as well as the parents. So Committee on Publication Ethics is called COPE, COPE. So this is a group which has given guidelines for ethical presentations, ethical publications. So these are some of the titles. I will just go through some of the. Accurate presentation. Data should not be manipulated. Authorship. Authorship actually just because my wife and my alien is there in my family, I should not write their name unless they have contributed something. Then there is what is called conflict of interest. If there is a conflict, if suppose I am publishing one data for Roche, I have a conflict of interest. They are paying me for previous talk. They are paying me, so I have to acknowledge them. That is conflict of interest. Even in reviewing an article, you have to divulge the conflict of interest. If you have a conflict of interest, you should tell. Data integrity is another thing already I mentioned. Simultaneous submission should not be allowed. You put same paper in 2-3 journals simultaneously, or some people submit part of it in this one, part of that in this one, 18 cases in this one, 21 cases in the other journal, like that. And there is something called the salami slicing. a little part you can. So this should not be allowed. Simultaneous submission should not be allowed. Originality, naturally, that is what is lacking in our state. Originality in research which is not published. All studies in Kerala, in free paper sessions, if you go, my study is like other studies and we need more studies for confirming. That is the last sentence most of us say in free paper. You attend free paper. My study is like other studies. You give a list, and more studies are needed for confirming. Permissions, very important. Suppose you use some data or table or image, you have to get permission from that. Error correction is also important. And this last area is becoming more and more popular. There is a artificial intelligence course going on in the church hall. If you copy and paste articles from the from other articles in your you copy and paste, it is very easy to there is a tool you can just paste it and say what percentage is having. It is 90% AI or something like that. You will get easily. There are he was telling highlighting this there are tools which detect AI, what percentage of the article is AI. So reporting standards accurately, again, data access retention, all these things, originality, these are all coming again and again. Plagiarism is one thing. Somebody else's article, you put as your article and publish in another journal. This has happened in Kerala. One of the articles from one major person was used, just the name changed and published in another not very good journal. And so multiple redundant concurrent publication, I already explained. Redundant publication, concurrent publication, this should not be allowed. This should not be possible. So integrity, honesty, authorship and contribution, you should mention the contribution by each author. That is there in IJO, KJO, everywhere, what all you have contributed. Conflicts of interest, again, these are all repetitions in ethical research guidelines, data transparency, avoidance of responsible peer interaction, handling misconduct. So, in relevant to ophthalmology, the conception and design contribution, drafting and reviewing, final approval and accountability. These are the recommendations. Some of the reference documents are here. So, in essence, COP's ethics framework for authors in medical publishing emphasizes honesty, transparency, originality, accountability, respect for participant welfare, and scientific reliability. So this is most of the American Journal of Ophthalmology, they endorses LCVS. There is another group called LCVS Publishing Ethics Policy, which is followed by American Journal of Ophthalmology, and many use ICMJE criteria, British Journal of Ophthalmology, ICMG and COP criteria, annals of. So all these are so. ICMGE recommendations, there is a 2025 update, and the COP already I have discussed. So this is International Committee for Medical Journal Editors Core Ethical Principle for Ophthalmology Authors 2025. More or less similar. There is a overlap, authorship, accountability. Use of AI has been given very clearly in the new ICMJE guidelines. So conflicts of interest, ethical conduct, data transparency, prevention of misconduct, same, more or less same. So this is a summary of ICMJE. Elsevier publishing ethics are also overlapping with many of these. American Journal of Ophthalmology uses Elsevier publishing ethics. It is, I am not repeating, it's more or less same. There's fine small differences, that's all. Especially when you use animal objects and interventional things. So what are the ethical considerations in research? This slide gives the summary. Avoid plagiarism, prevent plagiarism, avoid data fabrication and falsification, authorship integrity should be maintained, conflict of interest should be disclosed, informed consent and participants' privacy is extremely important. Then respect copyright and licensing, peer review integrity is especially important. I have bad experience with Indian Journal of Ophthalmology, where our study was rejected by the editor, and later similar study was published by them. So these are all background stories. Plagiarism check, use of, so this is, there is a method for plagiarism check. Reproducibility of research should be there. So these are all ethical things. So I have messed up the topic very well, but I have given a few highlights, whatever I could understand from all these things. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mahesh, for your insightful conclusion. But I have two questions for you. This talk was largely dealing with ethics. These two questions are on the legal aspects of publication.
First thing is, I said there is, suppose you publish by, unethical way, there won't be any criminal or civil or consumer cases. That is the problem. But they can approach against you in medical council or somewhere. There again, professional penalization can be done.
Okay. So
Like professor post is taken off or something like that. Professional penalization. But there won't be any criminal or civil cases. That is what I understand in my limited experience.
As far as I know, there are no sections in
Exactly.
the
It is
Nyaya
that
Samhita regarding this. But I don't know that's one thing I want.
It is not a statute passed by the parliament.
Yes.
So.
Second thing, I wanted to clarify this regarding copyright. We are getting so many, in KJO itself, we are getting so many submissions with everything else clear, but the images are not sourced and copyright not cited clearly where the source is from. So exactly what is the copyright issue with images? Is there any pertaining to images? Is it enough to just cite, or is it the journal which decides what to do, or is there a common
actually, you should not use copyrighted image. That is the responsibility, that is the ethical responsibility of the person submitting the articles. There may be ways to find whether it is copyrighted. I don't know. In music,
it's very difficult to find whether
sir, can you find out copyrighted image, Thomas sir? We don't know.
Usually we insist that the source should be cited.
Absolutely, absolutely. It is not correct to use copyrighted image. Just like copyrighted music, no? Okay. You use a music in YouTube, it will get automatically cut off. They have a method.
Yeah, we don't have a method.
You don't have a method. It is a responsibility, ethical responsibility of the author. Okay. Absolutely.
Even in review articles also they submit images. We cannot really check, like they don't have references also.
Review article, no sir, review article, I am quoting one big study of that. We can acknowledge
images,
that, no?
It's about the images, because sometimes they are so basic and so what do you call it, schematic diagrams even. They have copyright issues.
May I add a few more sentences regarding that copyright violation? See, now journals are more stick on to whether any part of the paper going to publish is accepted. I mean table or image, histopathology, HND staining image. Whether it is accepted as such from any other journal, we have to get the permission from the editor of the journal concerned. Otherwise, later any issues happen, the paper will be retracted. Retracted in the sense, it won't disappear from the site. It will be there with a label like retracted paper. Then reason for the retraction also mentioned like that. So as you explained previously, there is no imprisonment regarding this guilty, but that will be there in the internet. It won't disappear throughout. So it is a professional, what you will say, black mark.
Black mark.
That's all.
Okay. Thank you so much for clearing these points. So next, I invite Dr. Ajit for his keynote talk on Publish and Flourish, Sure Shot Success Mantras.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Letika, for a nice introduction, and respected dignitaries of the dais. I would like to say the title of this topic is selected by Dr. Letika itself, Publish and Flourish, Sure Short Success Mantras. That mantras I am going to discuss not only the pure mantras, some general aspect regarding how we can get a good publication in a reputed journal regarding. So I will have two scope in this discussion. Critical points in article writing. What are the critical points we have to listen while submitting an article to a journal concerned? And second is the selection of appropriate journals. These two aspects I am going to discuss with this 15 minutes time. Okay, let me start with the research publications. We have a set of publications, as you know very well, case reports, opinion papers, letters. They remains the weakest part of research publications. Research article just means original research article, but research publications means it's starting from the weakest one, case reports, opinion papers, letters, and goes up to the meta-analysis and systematic review. Meta-analysis, systematic review, what you mean by that is a secondary research. The primary research means randomized clinical trial, that is an experimental study. Then others are observational studies, cohort study, case control, cross-sectional. These are all observational studies. We can write a secondary research article, what is called systematic review, and we do a statistical analysis, that is nothing but meta-analysis. So that is a secondary research. We don't require any ethical approval for publishing meta-analysis in any journal concerned. So the strongest one among the research publications is meta-analysis and systematic review, that we can depend on RCT or observational studies, but we should clearly define what is the selection criteria, what are all the sources we selected for getting the primary article concerned. So what editors want, once we submit a paper to a journal, the editor, before assigning an editor, the paper will be subjected to plagiarism check, AI content similarity of the paper concerned. So that means the most threatening event now what happens in the field is AI content. Similarity will be Turnitin or authenticate based scanning may give less than 10% of similarity. However, the AI content is remaining as 100%, 80%, 70%. If AI content is there, no ICMJ is recommending AI content there in the article written. We should ignore most of the AI content to maximum extent, less than 10%, if I would like to say. And how we can ignore that? Do paraphrasing. Don't depend any, paraphrasing tools available like Quillbot available in the site. You go, humanize completely, do paraphrasing and change the AI content to a maximum extent. Then the editor will check the scope and novelty of the study. The study submitted has any novelty to the concerned field, or it has a good scope for the reader's concern. That is the second one the editor will check. Then other thing, IEC approval, conflict of interest, funding disclosure included. If you don't have this declaration statements, paper won't reject, paper will return back to the author need to revise it and resubmit it. That's only possibility. They will say they never reject it. But the first line, plagiarism, content and similarity, if it is high, above 40% and all, definitely the paper will be rejected from the journal, especially the reputed journal, not from the predatory journal. Now, what the reviewers want in the research article, first and foremost, the title is correlated with the aim. Whether the title is correlated with the aim, and they will check the conclusion. Conclusion, aim and title should parallel to each other. They should coincide each other. Then they will check the abstract if the study design is provided. And study design is appropriate to the aim of the study as well as conclusion and title of the paper we submit. Now let us see the introduction. Originality and novelty we should highlight. This is a responsibility of each and every author to highlight what is addition with respect to the previous literature survey. The 5 years or 3 years literature survey is mandatory, not the previous one like 2015, 2010 or 2000. That is not the clear evidence of literature survey. Should be 5 years, within the 5 years period. If it is the recent update, that will be the best one. Then we should create a gap area. Why this study need to be published in the reputed journal? We have to do a lot of hard work regarding the literature survey and highlight maximum what is the gap area exists in the subject concerned. Concerned to that study we selected. As the aim of the study is clearly stated, as I stated in the previous slide, this is also very important for making a good publication in a reputed journal. Now, materials method. This is the area where the research need to be reproducible, or what we can say precise. Precise means scientific rigor and valid methodology we should follow, and we should explain correctly what methodology we followed in the research study. So study design should be there, population with population, inclusion, exclusion criteria, research design appropriate to the address the aim and provide the study setting and period of the study. These are all essential elements need to be incorporated in the material method part of the paper. Has a study obtained ethical approval? As the Mahesh sir explained here, Declaration of Helsinki 1975 amended in 2013. That is the most important statement, along with the ethical committee approval, I mean the institutional ethics committee approval. This disclosure should be there. The study was conducted according to Declaration of Helsinki 1975, amended in 2013. That should be there in the first paragraph of material method section. Explain how the sample size was arrived. We should give the statistical part of sample size calculation analysis. Then the study procedure should be reproducible, as I explained previously. That is a quality and transparency, or say integrity of the research concerned. Then statistical analysis should be adequate. See, if your paper is selected for a systematic review, the systematic review people, the authors will look into the quality of the methodology. Quality of the methodology, we can say in other words, bias of the paper, bias of the quality. They will check with certain tools. Several tools are available, more than 150 tools are available. Newcastle, Ottawa, Rob 2, Robbins 2, Amster, all these are tools. They will use these tools to check the quality of the methodology for selecting systematic review. So preferably this material method section. If it is a cohort study, make a comparison between exposure and unexposed people. That should be clearly stated in the article concerned. Statistical analysis should be adequate to prove the aim as well as to support the conclusion of the study. Then results should be clearly presented with appropriate tables, figures, and of course statistical analysis. Are the statistics of study participants provided? Means any clinical study, if you want to publish demographic data, clinical data is mandatory. We cannot ignore such data. Then are the conclusions justified by the data provided? That is another aspect of the result. Now coming to the discussion, are key results summarized with reference to study objectives? The first paragraph of the discussion, we should start with what is a net core or the core result of the study. That should be highlighted in the first paragraph in the discussion section. Does the discussion provide critical analysis, positive and negative association or no association? We should clearly mention and support it with previous literatures. As I mentioned, 5 years, that is a duration reference we look into the paper. Then strength of the study provided. What are the positive strength and the negative strengths? Of course, the limitations of the study we should mention at the end of the discussion section. Does conclusion and its generalizability provide? Generalizability, that technical term should be there with the conclusion of study. That means whether the study result is applicable to the local population or the entire population concerned, we should mention that. That is generalizability provided. Now the case study, most of the clinicians are very important for reporting the case report or case study in journals. And remember, novelty, it should be there in the study, I mean case study, not the rarity. The disease may be less than 1% or less than 10%. Once the disease is reported as a case study, it has no rarity. Now further we have to go for the novelty. Novelty we have to create in many areas. Presentation of the patient, diagnosis, challenges in the treatment, follow-up. These 4 areas we should look into and bring the novelty among the rarity of the disease. And the rarity no way will success in publication. Then take home message should be there in each and every case study. Take message or take home message, that should be there along with the conclusion of the study. Now what I have explained, all these points are there in the guidelines, standard guidelines made by the equator.com site is available. Equator.com site, all these standard guidelines are available. These are all checklist format. 27-point checklist or 13-point checklists are available. We have to go the checklist and correct the draft paper before submitting your journal. Then the paper will have a better succession rate in a reputed journal concerned. Now the next section I would like to say regarding the selection of journals. With highlighting some of the journals, some of the journals are they are claiming like they are indexed in PubMed, Scopus or Doge or Embase and all. Actually, they are not indexed in the, because in India, I think 20,000 or more than 20,000 journals are releasing and every year, and Hyderabad, Aurangabad, then Delhi, that is the main area for predatory journals. What we used to say, it is a hub for producing predatory journals. Now see, there is a indication regarding this journal is indexed in PubMed. There is a logo regarding the PubMed, but it is not actually indexed in the PubMed. Now another list of journals, they are all claiming their journal is indexed in PubMed. This logo is indicating it is indexed in PubMed, but nowhere it is indexed in PubMed. So where, now this is another example for a journal. It is what is called hijack journal or a clone journal. Is another terms for a predatory journal. Two web pages they maintain in the internet. One is International Journal of Special Education. One is this one. This is a genuine one. This is a parallel one. They are receiving papers, and this is a predatory one. Same ISSN number, same publisher place, same publishers. They quoted same in both cases. This is a genuine journal. This is a predatory one. They are charging 25,000 rupees for publication. This one. This is a free journal. And this is Scopus indexed. This is not Scopus indexed, but looks like same. Title same, ISSN number same. There is a DOI number indicated in these papers. The papers published in this journal, no DOI number we can see, because DOI number providing cross-reference will check the official status of the journal. Then only they will provide the DOI number. So DOI number you cannot see in this one. DOI number is there. This is indexed in Scopus. You can see the paper once it is published in Scopus site. So where we can see the journal is really indexed in Scopus. If it is a Scopus indexed journal, if you want to check it, in the Google you just type Scopus indexed journal. This hyperlink, click to open, then the interface will look like this. Here you can give the title Indian Journal of Ophthalmology. You just give the title here and find the search. We'll give the entire detail of the journal, whether it is exist in the Scopus now. In 2025, it is available in the site. If it is a PubMed indexed journal is claimed in the author information sheet, go to the NLM catalog. Type NLM catalog there in the Google, then get the interface of this hyperlink. Then the interface will be like this. Type the title of the journal here, then get the details. See the details, will see currently it is indexed in Medline. This is concerned to Clinica Chemica Acta, one of the best biochemical journals, biochemistry journals available in the world. Now this is the Web of Science, another database for indexing the journals. This is Clarivate supporting journals. So master journalist clarivate.com. 4 core indexing areas as per the NMC concerned. Science citation index expanded is required for the faculty promotion in medical colleges. These are the 4 core indexing areas supported by Web of Science. You can give the details, you can get the details whether it is exist or not. It's clear from this search. Now I have written a paper, but I don't know where to publish this paper. That easy shortcut method is in the website itself. Is an AI based tool developed by Elsewhere, Wiley, Springer Nature, as well as Taylor and Francis. You can give your abstract or title, n number of options that site will give. For example, if you give the journal finder in the elsewhere.com, then this will be the area. This interface abstract you can paste and find out what are all journals fit for publishing your abstract concerned. Then Wiley also find journals. You can give the title and abstract. You can get the details of the journals concerned. Now while selecting the journals, that sites only recommend the possible journals, but we have to select based on the study we have conducted and paper we have write. Q1 is the first 25% is performance of the journal is exhibited as quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3, quartile 4. This is first 25% topmost journal, second 25%, third 25 and fourth 25. This is based on the performance journal impact factor as well as Simago journal ranking. These are all available in the website. Web of Science and Simago journal ranking as well as Scopus, they give this quartile, whereas Scopus is in the percentile. So percentile in Scopus means 75 and above is Q1. 50 to 74 is Q2, 25 to 50 is Q3, and below 25 percentile Scopus is quartile 4. Now, Clarivate Analytics, they provided journal impact factor. You can depend journal impact factor. That is a worldwide accepted, matrix for the journal concern. You select, open, select. We don't have to give the article processing charge. Subscription mode is there. No article processing charge. Open access optional. No publication charge. Whereas open access only, we have to give the article publication charge. With that, a takeaway message, indexed journal, you please go for indexed journal publication, Web of Science, Scopus, PubMed and Doge. Avoid predatory journal. You may get an invitation in your WhatsApp or in your email regarding contribute chapter, contribute paper. 99% of these invitations are all from predatory journals. None of them from the reputed journal published by premier publishers like Elsewhere, Wiley or Springer Nature, Trailer and Francis. Thank you very much. I hope you understood. I just went a little bit fast. So if you have any clarification required further, you may please ask me. If I know, I will clear that doubt. Okay, madam. No. Madam, in this format, these publishers are providing this format. This hyperlink. Yes. Okay. This area, we need to type the... here, we need to type it and search. See, suppose we type it here and get two websites like this. I mean, the journal name will come to know it is there in the Scopus. But in this case, the journal name is same in both cases. This is a cloned one. So before submitting paper to the journal, these journals and all published by local people, not by Elsewhere, Springer or Wiley people. Reputed publishers never do this type of gimmick. So this case, what we have to do is get the previous volume published in the journal. Get one or two papers. Screen the paper whether DOI number is existing or not. If it is a clone journal, DOI number will not exist. They won't provide the DOI number because DOI... No. Go to the website, madam, and get the, the previous volume. Search the previous volume, open the article. These are all open access journals. Open the article and check for the DOI. DOI will be there below the title of the article. If no DOI, you can confirm it is not a proper indexing. This is a gimmick. This happened. 25,000 one faculty in one of the medical colleges in Kerala spent for publishing in this journal. And her paper is not appearing in the Scopus page. So finally, she asked me to search it in the Scopus. So the paper will not appear, never. Some journals are there. It may take 4 weeks or 6 weeks to appear in the Scopus. But this is not like that.
Thank you so much for that very, very useful and practical talk. And for want of time only, I'm cutting short this discussion here. But each of these points, I'm sure, will benefit all our aspiring authors here. Thank you so much, Dr. Ajit, for your valuable contribution.
Thank you.
So next, I'll be talking to you about a short talk on evidence-based practice. So till now we were focused on how to publish what we practice, and this talk will be on how to practice based on what we actually read in published literature. That is perhaps of more value and more interest to the majority of our members also. So evidence-based practice it was defined by David Sackett as an explicit and judicious use of current best evidence in making decisions about the care of individual patients. So far, so good. So we all aim to do that only. So why should we shift our practice further? We all think we are doing this. That is the problem. And real evidence-based practice improves patient outcomes and enhances the patient's choices about how he should be treated also. So, and it maintains our lifelong learning and up-to-date practice and prevents obsolescence. So there is a triad for EBM. It is not just collecting the best external evidence. You should combine your individual clinical expertise and patient values and expectations to that. What you get in toto is what you implement for the patient. That is evidence-based practice. And actually there are 5 A's or 5 steps of evidence-based medicine. That is ask, I'll go into the detail of each one of this. But whatever you do, the primary prerequisite is a spirit of inquiry in your clinical practice. You should be always curious about what next, am I doing the right thing, can I do it better, etc. So the first question is ask. Everything begins with a question. So the clinician who sees a patient, then an issue arises that presents a knowledge gap, and then a clinical question is there in you, but usually you don't address it, you move on the way you can, but you should be addressing that question, and that should drive the rest of the process. So let's, I'm just going into the, now next what I'm going to do is I'm taking an example from our practice. You know the PICOT format very well. So even as a, not only as a researcher, even as a clinician, we should be actually trying to phrase our doubt in this PICOT format if you really want to practice evidence-based medicine. So this is a common situation I'm taking. That is, you have a patient being posted for cataract surgery. He is having aspirin. He's had a history of CABG on aspirin. And we all know it increases risk of ocular bleed. We all, as surgeons, would like to stop it. But this patient is very anxious about stopping aspirin, whether it will lead to mortality or other risks. So, so can I really, as a surgeon, go ahead and continue with my cataract surgery without stopping aspirin? This is the doubt I have. How confidently I can do it? Will I do it for my relative or for my mother? That's the question. So how can I address this question in an EBM fashion? So I first frame it properly. I'm talking about an Indian adult with cataract, whether I should continue aspirin, that's the intervention. As against stopping aspirin, that's the comparison, and the outcome is a safe cataract surgery with minimal ocular bleed. So I should be acquiring proper evidence for this. And that needs a smart and focused literature search. This has already been covered. The first slide is the secondary literature, and systematic reviews come highest in the evidence that you are searching for. What to search depends on what you want to know. See, if you are asking a therapy question, you have to go for RCTs or systematic reviews. If it's diagnosis, it's diagnostic accuracy studies. If it's a risk factor prevention you're looking at, it's a cohort study or case control. If it's prognosis, again, it's a cohort or case control. Now, where to search? You have n number of databases where you can search, and you should search using keywords, mesh terms, and Boolean operators. I'm sure everybody here knows what it is, but for a practitioner, it would mean keywords would be the easiest of this. And AI-powered search is, of course, there. I'll come to that later. Now, how to search? You should develop a proper search strategy. That means in your research question topic, you can split, and you can make one concept from each part of the research question, and then combine this using and or Boolean operators. That's the ideal way. Actually, that's the systematic way of searching. And then you can apply appropriate limits of language, publication types, dates, etc. And once you have a few articles that meets your guidelines, then you can save the best citations and refine on the go. So one practical, but this is what I do. If I have a doubt, I go to systematic narrative reviews first. And then I look for evidence summaries. And if the questions are solved, I don't look further. If the questions remain, I might go into the primary literature based on the references of the systematic reviews. So in this question of aspirin, if I went and searched with that research question, I went and searched all these databases. And I went for systematic reviews and RCTs because this question was about risk prevention. And the keywords I used was aspirin, antithrombotics, and cataract surgery. And the Boolean operator was and. And this was the citation list of the shortlisted articles I got from that reference. ആറെണ്ണം കിട്ടിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ആറെണ്ണം എനിക്കെടുത്ത് അപ്രൈസ് ചെയ്യണമെങ്കിൽ എൻ്റെ സമയം മുഴുവൻ പോകും. So I want to further shortlist from the 6. So that's what's called a selection of evidence. And I went in for the first because it was a systematic review and large sample credibility that will be high on my list. But I didn't have access to full text as an individual. So this is a problem with literature search. Now this one was again a robust design, but it was done in Chinese people. So it's a different ethnicity. So that was concerning. This one is a good study in Indian context in 2025, but the problem is the journal was not really good. And the last one is very well written, precise, robust, and very recent also. Only problem is it is further down down in the evidence pyramid. It's a letter to the editor. But all these are good in its own way. So I read through all these articles, and I selected all these 4 articles. But then, I must talk to you about AI. At this point of time, I feel like a fool because I can use AI and I can do all this in 1 minute. So, but do I do that? At this point of time, I wouldn't. I would continue with my search and then go to AI, because you should be sure who is in charge when you use AI. If you're very sure, fine. Otherwise, you're playing with your safety and your patients. So that's where we are now. Now, can I trust this evidence? Now I have evidence, but I don't know, really can I trust it just because it's published? So how do I know that? I have, of course, all these checklists. These many checklists are there, but I really don't want to use it, or it's too tedious for me. So some questions are easier for me. That is for a practitioner. These questions are easier. Look at the sample size. Look at how the sampling was done, whether matching was done. അതായത് കൺട്രോൾസും കേസും ആ ഒരു കാര്യത്തിന് ഒഴിച്ച് ബാക്കിയെല്ലാം മാച്ച്ഡ് ആണോ, ഏജ് മാച്ച്ഡ് ആണോ, അങ്ങനെ കേസ് കൺട്രോൾ സ്റ്റഡി ആണെങ്കിൽ. Then are the measurements and tools validated by other studies? Was it properly blinded? Means bias ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നോ? These were how are the outcome measures discussed? These are the things, at least what when we look at literature, these are the things we should be looking at. Bias. All these things can produce bias in a study, and there are certain techniques by which we prevent bias, that is sequence generation, allocation, concealment, blinding. These are all certain techniques. You see whether these techniques were used properly in the study. That's what you do, and of course there are tools, but that's for the editors. For a reader, you cannot use these tools for bias. You should be more, there should be simple ways. So these are some simple ways you can look at in the bias. Now, now this is about, see, in a therapy study, we are actually concerned about whether these results are applicable in our clinical setting. That means the size of the treatment effect, that it's a relative risk, odds ratio, numbers needed to treat. These are the things that are very important when you appraise a therapy study. Whereas in a diagnostic study, sensitivity, specificity, and likelihood ratios are most important when you appraise a diagnostic study. Whereas in a prognostic study, it's the probability of the outcome over a period and follow-up period that is most important. So when you appraise also, there are certain things, certain areas which are important in certain things. So that is what I wanted to highlight. So once in this case, in the aspirin case, I appraised using this Prisma and Consort are the real things to appraise that evidence that I collected. But I didn't do that, but that's what we should be using. And once the appraisal was done, an article I can safely say that cataract surgery under topical anesthesia could be safely performed without ceasing systemic aspirin therapy. So that is the conclusion I derived through this process in this case. Now, can I really apply this? ഇത്രയും കഴിഞ്ഞാലും നമ്മൾ അത് conclusion മാത്രമേ ആയിട്ടുള്ളൂ. Are you going to apply this evidence? That is where this triad becomes important. So, ഇത്രയും നേരം നമ്മൾ ചെയ്തതെല്ലാം best external evidence collection മാത്രമാണ്. Now, I am now sure that this evidence is reliable. But then combine individual expertise, combine patient values with that, then only I can apply that in real practice. So, do I have the expertise for a topical anesthesia? Are my patients similar to that in the study population? Can this test, or can I really stop aspirin in my setting? Will the cardiologist comply? ഇതൊക്കെയാണ് നമ്മൾ നോക്കിയിട്ടാണ് ഇത് അപ്ലൈ ചെയ്യുന്നത്. And actually there are tools to know ഈ കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ ഉള്ള tools we can download, print, etc. and use also. And finally, when you apply, these are the questions you should ask. Yes, in this case, the studies I looked at, my patient was representative. Indian adult study തന്നെയാണ് ഞാൻ നോക്കിയിരിക്കുന്നത്. So it is representative. Does this evidence matter for your patient? Yes, very much. If I can continue aspirin, my patient's anxiety is allied, perhaps his morbidity and mortality risk is also less. Are you clinically confident? Yes, I can. And does the intervention fit into the patient beliefs? Yes, he was apprehensive, so stopping aspirin helps. So ഇതെല്ലാം വെച്ചിട്ടാണ് I apply. So I can continue aspirin with scientific backup, enhancing confidence in a safe outcome. So that's how I finally apply this in an evidence-based manner to my practice. once I apply this, ഞാൻ ഒരു പേഷ്യൻ്റ് 2 പേഷ്യൻ്റ് 10 പേഷ്യൻ്റ് അപ്ലൈ ചെയ്യാം. പക്ഷേ അപ്പോൾ I should be evaluating myself in this process. That's called the final step of EBM. That is assessing and evaluating how your implementation of EBM actually works. So there are some questions for that, like how successful or satisfactory was the intervention to the patients? Would it be appropriate for other patients or other population? Could it be done differently or better? And patient-centered outcomes in terms of clinical and quality of life should be considered. ഇതിലിപ്പോൾ clinical outcome is a safe cataract surgery. Quality of life outcome I already mentioned. അപ്പോൾ അത് രണ്ടും ഓക്കെ ആണോ എന്ന് നോക്കണം. So in conclusion, what EBM is what I have already discussed. I don't want to add anything else. But what EBM is not, and this is what prevents the practice of EBM. ഞാൻ ആക്ച്വലി വലിയ സീനിയർ ഡോക്ടേഴ്സ് തന്നെ EBM ഭയങ്കര ബുൾഷിറ്റ് ആണെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ് ആർട്ടിക്കിൾ എഴുതി പബ്ലിഷ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്. So why? Because they think that EBM is a threat that replaces your clinical judgment, negates your clinical experiences, and reduces care to certain rigid guidelines and ignores the patient completely. അങ്ങനെയൊന്നല്ല. It uses all this. And the triad is what EBM is. So it is just using evidence to sharpen experience and support shared decisions. But there are various challenges to the application of EBM. All this time pressure, limited access, everything is there. So final slide, evidence in everyday care, eye care, is done one step a day, and it's possible. What you can do is, 1, frame clinical doubts as focused questions when they come. Don't forget that and sweep it under the carpet. 2nd, do a literature search and start with trusted summaries and guidelines. Skill up. നമ്മൾക്ക് വെറുതെ ലിറ്ററേച്ചർ എടുത്ത് അപ്രൈസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ല. So you have to skill up. All the practitioners have to skill up in their literature searching and critical appraisal. Simple tools can be used. ചില ആപ്സും പോയിന്റ് ഓഫ് കെയർ questionnaires ഒക്കെ. And increase share time with the patients to know their preferences and then apply it, and start small. Implement one small thing in your practice and audit the outcomes. Share the results with the team and with the outer world. You share, you publish, and you build a culture of EBM in yourself, in the department and the fraternity. So that is how, that's the way to go. Thank you very much for your kind attention. So now we come to the, after the boring part is now over, and now we come to the interesting and exciting part, and the part where we celebrate and applaud the best of our people associated with KJO. So I invite Dr. Sumita to where is, Dr.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah. Dr. Sumita to kindly announce our KJO Award, Appreciation Award winners for 2025. Yeah, that's, can I please, yeah. I'm sorry for that small correction is there. This, Madam Jyoti Madam is the top reviewer, and that one is the outstanding reviewers are Dr. Sudha and Dr. Shaki.
Thank you, Dr. Ladika, for that very informative session. Now we move on to a very prestigious segment of the KJO session, the award ceremony to appreciate the top and outstanding reviewers, the prolific authors, and many others who contributed significantly to an exemplary journey of KJO this year. May I now request Dr. Mahesh Gopalakrishnan, the President of the Kerala Society of Ophthalmic Surgeons, to give away the awards. I request Dr. Jyoti PT to receive the award for the top reviewer. Thank you. May I now request Dr. Sudha V to receive the award for the outstanding reviewer. We have yet another outstanding reviewer. May I now request Dr. Raki De Cruz to receive the award for the outstanding reviewer. The award for the most prolific author goes to Dr. Sujit Das, but we don't think he's here with us today. Thank you, Dr. Mahesh.
I congratulate the team KJO for the systematic work done during the last 2 years. I have been part of that group, and I understand that all the editions were brought out in time with good quality, and all the congratulations to the whole team. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The KJO Research to Reality Quiz Series was an innovative segment born last year. May I now request Dr. Latika VK, the Editor-in-Chief of KJO, to give away the award to the quiz topper of the Research to Reality series, Dr. Ramya Idacheri. Thank you, Dr. Mahesh, Dr. Latika, and thank you everyone once again.
Just one word before I leave. It would be a criminal offense on my part if I don't say this. I had the most, what do I say, most amazing people working with me on the KJO platform over these 2 years. And whatever I could do is thanks to them. So I really, really appreciate the work of my editorial board, including Dr. Ramya, both the Dr. Ramya's here, Rosemary, Dr. Sumita, so many people, so many of them couldn't be here because of their other engagements. So I really wish all of them were here, but I really appreciate, and I will always remember how dedicated it was, and it was a very fruitful journey with them. Thank you.